All right, we're joined now by veteran actor Michael Gross, known for playing Burt Gummer in the cult hit Tremors films, and returns to battle graboids in Tremors 5 Bloodlines, which is out on DVD and Blu-ray today. Michael, how are you?
I am well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been 11 years since the legend begins. How did Bloodlines come about, and what can people expect from this latest chapter?
Oh, good question. Bloodlines came about in January of last year when I got a call from Universal Studios saying, believe it or not, we want to do another sequel. And no one could have been more surprised than I. It seems that after more than a decade, a producer at Universal Home Entertainment, Patty Jackson, who's always been a fan of the series, somehow convinced the powers that be that we needed to do another one of these. I thought having finished 4, that was a quartet, was the perfect little package, and that we would end with that. And I was sorry to see it go, but I was accepting of it. Next thing I know, I'm getting this call saying, no, I think we might do another. And I think my response was, well, that would be fun, but I'll believe it when I see it. Lo and behold, they had a script that was written about 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that maybe, from the original creators. And this was reworked in conference with myself, the writer, another writer, and Patty Jackson. And we had a lot of conferences, a lot of calls, a lot of input, and came up with what we have here. So I'm as surprised as anyone, to be honest with you.
Now, throughout the series, the graboids are constantly evolving. How have the stakes been upped in this 5th installment?
Well, they are, again, this is the African variety as opposed to the North American variety, and so there are some differences. I can't give them away because that's part of the fun in what we see in Tremors 5,
right.
But they are different, and they are more dangerous because of their difference. And one of the fun, and this was one of the many discussions that went on, was what would the monsters be like? Where would we find a new monster? What would that new monster look like, and how would it operate? Would it be close enough to the old ones to still be credible? And still in that same world, but yet have differences. And this one does have something that makes it different from the others, and therefore makes us more vulnerable. The beautiful thing about my character, Burt Gummer, is that he's always prepared for one monster, and lo and behold, there's something he wasn't quite expected, wasn't quite prepared for. For a man who believes in preparedness, it drives him crazy, and that's part of the fun of each of these films.
Now, when Tremors hit theaters in 1990, could you have ever fathomed that it would have a sequel, let alone been alive and well 25 years later?
No, I tell you, Landon, actors are by nature pessimistic. Anybody in the arts is, to a degree. I mean, they love what they're doing, but there's no guarantee that anybody else but yourself will ever like it and appreciate it in the way you do. And so the fact that we made a second sequel, or a first sequel, was Tremors 2, was the hugest surprise to me, because the movie, while not being a total failure, did not do particularly well in the box office. It was out on big screens for about an hour and a half, and so it wasn't until a year or two later when somebody said, we're going to do a Tremors 2, that I said, why? You know, what happened? And it was explained to me that it had absolutely taken off in the at that time the VHS market, the video market. So the fact that we're still here is always a blessing to me, always a surprise. And being an actor for over 40 years, I take absolutely nothing for granted. I will not assume until it's signed on the dotted line and the money's in my bank account that we're going to do a 6th one. You know, I'm just a pessimist by nature, I think. I've been an actor for too long.
Now, 5 films in, there has to be oodles of behind-the-scenes stories worth telling. Can you give us a Tremors tale that maybe hasn't been heard, that just brings a smile to your face whenever you think about it?
Oh boy, I think going way back to the first one, it was just, there were silly things. I had my first time working with Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward wonderful, wonderful actors. I did not. I've seen Kyra Sedgwick, Kevin's wife, since then, but on the set of Tremors 1, she was one of the most pregnant women I've ever seen in my life. She was absolutely huge, and I did not know until later on that she wasn't a somewhat obese woman. So when I saw her on, what was her show, The Closer, or whatever, I forget what it was.
I think so.
Yeah, when I saw her, I didn't know Kyra could be so thin, because they were having their first child, and Kyra was moving around. She and Kevin wanted to be together because this was their first child, and I think she gave birth during the filming of Tremors, and I didn't know her as any other way than this somewhat puffy woman. So I was surprised to see Kyra. He was an absolute joy to work with. Of course, I worked with Fred in the second one as well. But I think Reba McIntire was a great deal of fun, too, because it was really one of her first outings as an actress. And she was up for everything. She was very game. And we spent a lot of time off screen as well, just looking for good places to eat, that kind of thing. Since we were in so many of our films, so many of the scenes together, we were frequently off together. We were frequently, had off time together. So I'll give you a little secret. She's addicted to ketchup. I think I discovered that when eating upon her. She could put ketchup on just about anything, and I think she regards it as a food group unto itself. I don't know if that's still true, but it was true back then.
So, what keeps you coming back to Tremors?
It's the character, not just the character, but it has to be the quality of the writing. Burt Gummer himself is a wonderfully comic invention. I give all that credit to the first Tremors director, Ron Underwood, who collaborated with S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock in the creation of the first 4 films, and to this one, because this one is based on a script they wrote over a decade ago. So Tremors 5 was also part of their creation, as was Burt, the beautiful, wonderful Burt, the comic, obsessive, compulsive, paranoid survivalist. Comedy, I think, is about extremes, and no one is quite as extreme as Burt. People who go to great lengths, possessed of a certain idea, and Burt is a classic. They're putting him in situations with a set of expectations that are then having that rug pulled out from under him time and again is a comic masterpiece. And so I am an interpreter of their character, but they helped create it. I've helped recreate it now over 2.5 decades. We just had this. I just went to a 25th anniversary screening last week, and so it's amazing to see the legs it's had and the attention it's had, and it's a real blessing for me. I keep coming back for him. That having been said, I don't necessarily want to play Burt again. Burt can't be played in a vacuum. I want to have a good script. I want to have and be surrounded by wonderful, wonderful actors, because Burt does not work well in a vacuum. Believe it or not, years ago they entertained the idea of a series starring Burt. It was going to be called Burt's Basement. Burt in his compound, and it was always my contention. Now, maybe this is stupid or not, but I talked myself out of that and talked them out of that. I said, Burt can't be the star of anything. Burt, I compared him to the Fonzie in Happy Days, and saying Burt works best when he's surrounded with normal people. It's always Burt by himself does not a good series make. Burt needs to be surrounded with people who are normal, quote unquote. Burt's comedy works best when he's surrounded by normal human beings who don't who are always saying, "Why do you act this way?" or constantly looking askance at his craziness. So Burt I always saw as a supporting role, but surrounded by people who were normal, people who thought his behavior, as it is, eccentric. And so I never wanted to be the star of anything. I thought Burt works well when he's always in an ensemble.
Now, when it comes to your interactions with fans, what's the sense that you get about this saga that keeps people coming back for more?
I've come to know this far more recently because just in the last 2 years, I finally decided to jump on the social media bandwagon. And so a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and I'm most often on Facebook. I started a page simply called Actor Michael Gross, facebook.com/Actor Michael Gross. I don't just talk about Tremors because I work on a number of other things. But there are a lot of Tremors fans out there, and over the past few months, particularly with this premiere coming along, a lot of the talk has been about Tremors, not exclusively, but a great deal of it. And so I've come to know them, and I find there are people out there with a variety of interests. There are people out there who love the comic paranoia of this character. There are people who love monsters. There are people who love horror films in general. There are people who love firearms. So there are a lot of little interesting niche markets. And I think there are Yahoo groups and things like that devoted to the guns that Burt Gummer carries. So there are all sorts of people out there, and all of whom I enjoy addressing to the limited degree I can, because life takes over sometimes. But it is, unlike a lot of pages, my page is an open page, and fans can write comments. And I do respond, not to everything, but I read everything and watch it and respond in kind. And a lot of people are very grateful for that. They say, "God, you actually talk to us." And so I do touch base with that page on a daily basis.
All right, it's a staple of these interviews, be it at a convention or just a random meeting on the street. What is the strangest request you've ever received from a fan?
I'll tell you one of the strangest incidents.
All right.
The requests are always pretty straightforward. Will you sign this? Will you pose for me in this selfie? That kind of thing. I don't recall signing anyone's underwear or their brassiere, whether it was off or on. But I'll tell you what surprised me in a huge way was at one of these autograph shows. That's also a great way to meet people who love the franchise. I saw myself being approached by a very large man who looked like Burt Gummer on steroids. He was in camo. He had a full beard and mustache. He looked like he had just come out of the woods. There were a lot of tats, piercings, and he looked like his hog was double parked outside. And so I thought, I'm about to lose my life here. If this man doesn't like me, I'm in deep doo-doo. And he walked towards me, big smile on his face, extended his hand and said, "I just want to tell you how great a father you were to me on Family Ties." No one was more surprised than I. Here I was at a monster convention looking at this hard-ass mofo and thinking, whoa, he is heavy duty. And he's saying in the most gentle tone, "I loved you on Family Ties. You were a father to me. I really appreciate it. I didn't have a father of my own, blah, blah, blah." And I went, well, I'll be damned. You can't judge a book by its cover, can you? Wow.
All right, finally, this is just for me. That corduroy Atlanta Hawks cap from the original film, please tell me you have that somewhere.
I don't Thank you. That's. I don't think I do. I wish I could tell you that. The original script is something I also don't own. I gave that to a film museum in the town in which we made Tremors, Lone Pine, California, which has been the site of a great many films. They have a Lone Pine Film Museum. Mm-hmm. It's right in the shadow of Mount Whitney, which is the highest peak in the United States, in the 48 states. I gave them the back of my director's chair, the script, and maybe something. I think I gave them that hat, because that hat, I said, here's the director's chair. Put the script on the director's chair open and hang the hat over the back of the director's chair, and it looks like Burt's just gone off to take a whiz. So all of those things are gone. I don't have many of these things left. I'm not terribly nostalgic about it. Mm-hmm. I love doing the films, but I've got so much stuff in my life. I'm at a point where I'm trying to get rid of things. So things have gone on eBay over the years, and I will probably begin. I've got one or two things. Mm-hmm. Mostly it's the memories. To be quite honest with you.
All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate taking a few minutes to talk. I know you're doing a lot of interviews today. I appreciate it. I've been a fan of yours for a really long time, so this was a thrill. Thank you.
Landon, thank you. Can I put in a plug for two other things?
Absolutely.
It's kind of different. Not only is this a premiere for Tremors today, but a premiere for a web series in which I'm involved, producing and playing a small part in some later episodes. But it appears today on YouTube. It's called it's just a series about two older women trying to get back into the dating game.
Okay.
And the love game, and it's called Carbon Dating, which is, I love the title.
That's good.
Carbon Dating, and I play one of the guys who they date later on. These 10 or 12 minute episodes, and the first episode is today, and they'll be repeating once a week every Tuesday on YouTube. So that's at YouTube / I think Carbon Dating series.
Okay.
And I was just together. You might be interested to know I was just did a job with my dear friend Meredith Baxter.
Oh, nice.
It will be the Lifetime Christmas film, their big holiday offering, and in which Meredith and I play Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, of all people. So it was great to work with her again. We were just together for a little less than a month in British Columbia together making this film, and it should be a fun Christmas offering on the Lifetime Network. So I'm keeping busy.
All right, well, sounds good. Again, thank you for talking, and good luck the rest of the way with the movie.
Thanks. The pleasure is mine, Landon. Take care.
Take care.